What is good, everybody? This is Tatro, Creative Director at 343 Labs. Thank you for joining us this week. We've got a video to show you a clip from a recent panel discussion at our 343 Studio launch event, Sync. On this panel, I was joined by Great Dane, who's a really amazing producer and DJ from the LA beat scene, used to be a part of Team Supreme and is now living in New York, as well as Alina Smith, who is another awesome producer and songwriter. Started out with a publishing deal in Nashville, now lives in LA, produces for really big acts with her company Lyre Music, produced the song In the Morning by ITZY, which is one of my favorite K-pop tracks. And both of them, even though they came from really different areas of the music industry, have built really awesome careers for themselves. So they had a lot of great insight to share, and this clip is going to show a little bit of that. But if you want to watch the full panel discussion, as well as get access to a bunch of the other events that happened at Sync, other performances, interviews, and workshops, you can sign up for a totally free membership to 343 Studio at the link in the description. With that free membership, you also get access to a library of free classes that we're actually continuously adding to from some of the 343 Labs instructors and 343 Labs artists in residence. Definitely worth checking out. It's a free account. Go for it. And you can also participate in our 343 sample challenge as well in the forum over there. Totally free. And then you can check out the paid tiers if it's something that you'd be interested in. All right, now let's get into the panel discussion with Alina Smith and Great Dane. Check it out. What is everybody's relationship with money? So we talked about how everybody started. And I wonder, was there a time where it was I was doing this much music and then I was a waiter for this much, and then I was doing being less of a waiter, being more of a musician. I just want to talk about what are the income sources y'all are getting. What was the journey like with that? So you could support yourself and sustain life as an artist.
I think this is a really important question. And it bothers me that people don't talk about this. I understand why, because it's a cultural thing, but I do think it needs to be changed, especially in the arts, because it is a challenge to make money. So it should be discussed. So for me, I was very lucky because I got married very young and my husband supported me fully for the first 10 years of me trying to do this. I asked repeatedly, hey, can I go be a waitress or work at a coffee shop or something to help you? And he had a lot of pride about it. And he was like, no, you're an artist. I want you to just focus on being an artist. So, and he did not have a glamorous job. He worked at Southwest Airlines, loading baggage. He was very tired all the time. Yeah. So it was a very difficult time for us because, I just had to do my best, not really knowing what I was doing. So I was, writing, singing, producing, doing all the things and not really succeeding. And he was busting his butt working at the airport. So that was not a very glamorous time at all. So, and then the way that transition started for me into making a living is basically when I got my publishing deal, and it was very low. My pub deal was different than most pub deals now. It was like a salary. They were paying me my advance monthly as opposed to a chunk at the beginning, which is 90% of what the deals are now. So I was making about $1,500 a month, which I thought was so much money.
Yeah, totally.
I was just like, oh my God, look at all this money I'm making for music. I'm rolling in it, and it was enough to help my husband. He still had to work for the airlines, but he didn't have to do double shifts. Now he could just do a regular shift. Nice. And I was doing that. And then I think the way it started kind of upscaling, I guess, is when I moved to LA. Moving to LA was very expensive. And one of the, ways I was just trying to figure out how can we afford this move? And I was just like, okay, I'm going to go on Facebook and just put out a message. Hey, if any of my Nashville collaborators need demos produced, I haven't done this before, but I'm open now. I'll do it really cheap. And I've had several people hit me up yeah, I heard you're really good producing. Will you do my demo? Will you do my demo? So I ended up doing several demos, and that really, really helped me kind of make the move here. And for the first probably year that I was in LA, I also did a lot of that kind of stuff, do a demo for somebody for $400, stuff like that, sing on some song for $200. I used a lot of Sound Better, which is a great website for those that are starting out but have some good skills writing, singing, producing, mixing. There's a lot of work on there. It's never high-end work, but it is really good for starting out. So I use that website a lot to just write, sing, produce all the things. And then basically, like my kind of big financial break came from starting to work with content creators in LA. So right now, this is very common. Bella Poarch singing, with the girls from TikTok, Charlie D'Amelio, the D'Amelio singing. But back in like 2017, it was still very uncommon for like the mainstream music industry to work with YouTubers, with content creators. And my partner Ellie and I started producing records for people like Nikki and Gabby, Nikita Dragon, Gabby Hanna, Matt Stephanie, and I. We worked with all of these like people that weren't necessarily known for music but wanted to do music and had very, very large followings. So, and that's where we started seeing like more of like the real track fees, started seeing royalties, all of those types of things. And then on top of that, we were slowly getting into working more like traditional music industry, doing K-pop and all of those types of things. So cumulatively, all of these streams of income started coming together. But this was probably like, I started being like, oh, wow, I make money probably 3 years after moving to LA. And you have to add the other 12 or whatever years, 10 years before that of hardly anything. So it can take a while, but it is possible.
A great perspective. Dane, how's your relationship with money as an artist?
It's good. It's I mean, I feel like I am like a unique, like my only like source of income for my whole life has pretty much been music, and like also my dad is a musician, so I'm pretty like I never was like gonna be anything else, or like I never like had that like decision to make that a lot of people have to, of like getting a normal job or not. I feel like my degree is in music. My fallback has always been teaching music. I used to teach like little kids piano lessons and voice lessons and guitar lessons, and it's been nice because I think I don't look at it like being a waiter or something where I have to like not think about it. I have to fully be doing something else. I mean, I worked at Starbucks when I was in high school, but that's whatever. That's high school. Yeah. So teaching music has always been a nice like thing that I've been able to do while I'm pursuing everything else. But I've had years where, I'll get kind of like too big for my britches and quit. I won't teach at all. And then, I don't know. I've had ups and downs. I've had to learn kind of like how to, because when you're only making money from like freelance music, you have to be way smarter about how you spend your money. And like, I've had like really big checks and then I'll just like blow it all and then, be broke again. So I'm trying to get better at like that kind of stuff, like kind of like evening out. And I think it's just also just growing up a little bit. But yeah, I make income streams from like, I think the biggest thing for me is like live touring and live DJ sets. Like I'll make like royalties every month from my like old music. And that's about like maybe $1,200, $1,500 right now. Like that's like, honestly, that's my biggest thing that I'm always thinking about, is like the more music I put out, the more numbers I do. That the fact that I've been working with the same label for so long, it's just like, I've watched that number grow from, the first couple of years, like $300 a month. And then it's just kind of gone up. And since then, so it's been like 10 years of just like incrementally getting bigger. And my goal is just to like be, when I'm like 40, 50, for it to be like, I don't know, $10,000 a month. That'd be awesome.
Right.
And that's another thing why I kind of like started focusing on my own artist career as opposed to like looking for a publishing deal or something, because I kind of saw like the numbers and I was like, this is like what it means to be an independent artist, like a somewhat successful independent artist. And I think that if I do break through someday and reach that goal that I'm looking for, I'll actually keep all of it. I won't have to like split it 80% with a big label or something. Like that's what Macklemore did. Like I mean, he like thrift shop, all the his hits. Like the difference between him and most artists is that he kept all of his, like it was all independent. I think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's something happened with his deal where it was like he didn't go through a major label, and like the payout he got compared to like other comparable artists is like astronomical. Like he's like actually like fully cashed out. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm kind of just right now like obviously still teaching, and I like teaching. I think that even if I really, really made it, I would still teach in some capacity, because I think it keeps me like sharp and like keeps my skills up. But I kind of like go back and forth. Like, yeah, like I think DJing is my biggest source of income. Like not like I'm DJing a ton right now, but like what I get to DJ like for one night could be like my whole month of royalties. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I'm always kind of like focused on the live aspect of things. But I kind of like in my head, it's like a circle. It's just like, I have to make dope music to get booked, and then I'll get booked. And then both of those things will pay me. Like the royalties will pay me and the shows will pay me. So
Yeah. I mean, you both mentioned a multitude of skill sets that you're pulling from, which all accumulate into this one income, that make up your income essentially. And I think that's important for people to remember. I mean, Alina mentioned like mentoring artists, Dane mentioned teaching. I think there's so much that we do that is not directly like sitting at the desk in the studio making the music that contributes maybe not only to our income, but also to like our whole self as an artist, like very, very important aspects of our self. And people should also, like the audience, I'm just thinking about the audience who's watching, like think about those things as well and how it all accumulates into one artist, like who you are. It has to be
natural to you.
Yeah.
It's so easy to be like, oh, so and so makes money doing that. Oh, NFTs are big, I'm gonna do NFTs.
Right.
But you have to kind of check it with yourself. Like, do I really actually want to do that? If there was no money, would I want to do that?
Right, exactly. And when Dane mentioned like being passionate about teaching, and Alina, it sounds like you're passionate about the mentoring that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also very passionate about teaching. There's a lot of teachers out there who are just not passionate about being a teacher, being a mentor, and that's not great for the community, but they do it because it's like an easy, steady paycheck. So it comes back to that idea of there's lots of opportunities for musicians and artists to generate income. Not one is better than the other. It's kind of like what you said, it has to be true to you, and it has to be like who you are. All right, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the panel discussion at Sync. Again, if you want to check out the full length panel, go ahead and sign up for a free account on 343 Studio. Link is in the description. And don't forget that you also get access to our library of classes taught by 343 Studio artists in residence over there. And we're going to keep adding classes to that over time. So sign up for free. Check out the paid tiers if you're interested in direct feedback or mentoring sessions with the 343 artists in residence as well. That's going to be it for now. My name is Tetro here with 343 Labs. Have a good one.